Welcome back to the program. Going to do a short little segment here next, as we do every month or so. We talk with Mae Graves, our local real estate guru, or maybe one of her minions she sends in. But we have Mae herself today, though, in the studio. Great to see you again, Mae.
Thank you, Todd. Always fun.
And we're going to talk, not really a market report today, but maybe a kind of an overall analysis about things. In fact, there was a little news even today I heard about that there was some relief in market and some interest rates that have started to show up with mortgages now.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit about, I don't like to talk too much about interest rates because I always say I'm not a lender, and there's this whole thing about APR. You know, people throw rates around. It's like, well, did they buy that down? What was their credit score? All that kind of stuff. But yes, we were seeing rates. Like our lenders were locking people at like 5.9 a month ago. But then with this Iran crisis, conflict, we call it, war, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. Rates now we're seeing in the mid-6s.
Okay.
So what does that cause? It causes people to kind of sit on their hands and go, hey, let's wait this out. You know, let's see if rates come back down, because when rates go up, that changes your mortgage payment for, you know, hypothetically 30 years, right?
Okay.
But, you know, what does that mean? Does it mean homes aren't selling? No, we're still selling a lot of homes. You just have to be strategic. You have to be priced right. So, for instance, we're just, halfway through, not even that. Okay, so in March, we sold 2 homes that closed in March with multiple offers.
Yep.
And that is not super typical when rates are up and inventory's up. But this time of year, you get a flood of inventory. Everybody's like, hey, it's spring. Let's get the house on the market. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, like I like to explain to people. So let's say your house was in a certain neighborhood. We can look at the data, and the data doesn't lie. It'll say you sell 2.3 houses every month, every year in that neighborhood, and that's it. That's the supply, that's the demand. So if you have 5 on the market, that is just common sense to say 2.3 are going to sell or 2 are going to sell. The others are going to sit. So if you want to be one of those ones that sell, it doesn't mean you have to be the cheapest house. It means you have to be the best value, and you have to look good.
And so that's where you come in.
Yeah.
You help us have the best value out there.
Best value. And, you know, I keep wanting to do a, well, I can't do it on radio, but a segment on, like, not even home staging, but you see homes come on the market, and it's just, there are things in the pictures that are not adding any value. Okay, so this is just one example. So let's say it's an empty house, but they've got red curtains hanging in the dining room. Not adding any value to that home whatsoever. It's actually a distraction.
Get rid of those things, right? Yeah.
Just rip them down.
Literally. You don't even need a curtain, right?
No,
Better
just take them down.
Yeah.
They're not adding any value. So little things like that, I like to look at it like garnish. You know, it's presentation. It just takes a little bit of effort and really critical thinking.
So have you done that perhaps with some of your clients in the past where you've helped tear down the red curtain, so to speak, and voila, they start getting offers?
We do. You know, that is something that we kind of pride ourselves on, start to finish. So oftentimes, like a seller, a homeowner will call and they'll say, hey, we need to sell our house. You know, we're at this point in our life. And a year later, we talk with them, and they haven't really made much progress because it's overwhelming. When you've been in a house 20 years, they don't even know where to start. So they literally just start by thinning things out and getting rid of a few things, but that's just it's too slow. So a lot of times, we help them come up with a path, whether it's go ahead and get to your new home, whether it's a bridge loan, you know, whatever the scenario is, we help them. We hear them out, help them get to their new home. And we just say, take the stuff you want, leave the rest here, and we will take care of it. So we help them sell the things. We help them donate things. We help them dump things. We have the house cleaned. We have it staged, and we get them on the market.
Hypothetically, you got 2 houses relatively the same, asking, you know, in the same ballpark. You got one that's been, you know, had this done that you just talked about and appropriately staged versus one that's just, you know, left.
Sure.
Which one do you see that first one selling a lot faster?
Yeah, there's
prove
data.
That almost, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually data by, I think it's like the Stagers Guild, or I don't remember the acronym, the National Association of Staging companies, that they say that homes that are staged actually sell for more than homes that aren't. And how do they know that? Because they'll have a house that sits on the market for a long time. Like we had one on the market. Actually, I didn't, but it was sat on the market for 2 years before we took the listing. And they called and they said, why isn't our house selling? And I told them, a couple things need to happen. and we did. We staged it. Actually, that one, we just ordered all kinds of furniture that was delivered to the house, and we just set it up.
Just set it up like it's...
Because it was unique.
And the other part of that's better than just an empty house then. I mean, you could have a stark, clean, house, but if it's not staged, that still can be a hindrance, so to speak, right?
Yeah, and it depends. But it's like, again, like garnish. If you bought a steak, if you went to the steakhouse and got a steak and they brought you a steak on a plate with no little radish rows on the side or parsley or orange twist, you'd be like, what's up with that? Like, I'm paying a lot of money for this. So it just is psychological. It just adds to it.
I think people have a hesitancy, though, because of the cost. They're thinking, well, is that really worth it? But from what you're saying is you probably will more than recoup that in your sale on it if you can get more money for your house because you staged it.
Well, okay, so that being said, it's part of our overhead. Just like we take photos and video and drone, we don't charge you for that. We don't charge you. It's just part of our service. And we only get paid if it sells. So you're not really out anything.
It's in your best interest to get that thing sold too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the way we see it, is if we don't do those things, I'm really harming my business as well. I've
noticed a number of, and they're not necessarily your listings or through your company, but other realtors are showing... We did a price adjustment and we sold this right away.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. That seems to be something that's happening in the market that perhaps people are looking for a little nudge before they actually pull the triggers. Like, okay, are they going to come down? And from what I understand, it's not like a significant change. It's maybe $10,000 or something like that in some cases.
And it's so hard to gauge. Here's what I think is happening. For 14 years, we had a seller's market. We saw prices just chunking up the hill, right? During the pandemic, it was like 1.5% per month, where now we're seeing about 1.5% per year, maybe 2% per year. Huge difference. So the way we used to do CMAs, if you became a realtor during that period of time, you learned how to do a comparative market analysis. And you said, we look at all the comps behind us, knowing that we're headed in this direction, and we pad it some because that's where we'll be. In fact, I had a house one time, they wanted to way overprice it. And some agents would just put it on the market and say, okay, and then it wouldn't sell. Yeah. But I said, okay, here's what we can do. Strategically, knowing that we're gaining about 1.5% per month, your house is going to sit on the market for 9 months before the market catches up to your price. If you're okay with that, we can do this. And guess what? Like clockwork, it's sold in about 9.5 months.
But you gave people the reality check. Now, do you want it sold in 3 months? We're going to have to make some sort of an adjustment.
And then people go, I don't get it. That house was on the market for 9 months. Why did you get full price in a bidding war? And it's like, it's all math. It's data.
And that's why we have you on, because you guys are the epitome of data-driven things. How should we get a hold of you? If I've got a house I want to put it up, now's a good time to be talking to somebody, right?
Yeah. Right now there's a lot of stuff going on the market, and so you probably won't hear many other agents say this, but sometimes I say, let's wait till fall. At some point, not yet. We're still early. But at some point it gets flooded, and you're just another kind of me too. So I say, let's wait. But you can call me. I like to talk, obviously. Yeah. Just give me a call. It's 360-461-1922, and it's Mae Graves with Real Estate Market Pros.
And she will not steer you wrong. And in fact, I admire somebody who is willing to say, you know what, I don't want to put your house on the market yet because it may not be in your best interest.
Exactly.
Right? We want to sell this at the highest point that we can, and that might be months from now.
It might be in the fall when all that other inventory is kind of dwindled.
Right. And then you can be king or queen of the market.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bidding war.
Mae, it's always great to talk to you. We'll do it again next month. All right.
Thanks, Todd.
All right. Mae Graves there. And we have all her info down here at the station. If you missed it, we can get you hooked up with her as well. We're going to take a break.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm here to help.